Johnny and the clever little cat. If you want to hear a story, if you want to sing a song, sing-a-ding, ring-a-ding, ding-a-ding-dong. All that you will need to do is just to come along, along to the village with three corners. I'm Billy Blue Hat, I like to play, and I go to school with the others each day. I've a hat which is blue as the sea, and I live in the house by the very tall tree. If you want to hear a story, if you want to sing a song, sing-a-ding, ring-a-ding, ding-a-ding-dong. All that you will need to do is just to come along, along to the village with three corners. We're Ramu and Sita and little Gopal. We live in the house with the little white wall. We sometimes play with the others as well. We've songs to sing and stories to tell. If you want to hear a story, if you want to sing a song, sing-a-ding, ring-a-ding, ding-a-ding-dong. All that you will need to do is just to come along, along to the village with three corners, along to the village with three corners.
All the stories you've heard on this tape come from books. You can read the stories yourself when you learn how to recognise the words. Here are some of the words we've used in the stories. Red, red hat, red door, blue door, dogs and cats, a big house, the Red Hat's house. We can use words to have fun too. Jennifer lives in a pond. Whoops, in a house. A frog hid in a bus. No, I mean in a pond. There are lots of stories to read about the people from the village with three corners. The last one is called Crash Bang Crash.
It was a lovely day in the village with three corners. The sun was shining and the sky was blue. Nobody could have guessed that it was going to be one of the most exciting days the people in the village had ever had. It all began with Mr. Brown's goat. Mr. Brown had a white billy goat which he kept in the field in front of his barn. When Mr. Brown saw him that morning, Billy the goat looked perfectly happy, chewing away on a parsnip. What Mr. Brown didn't know was that Billy was feeling very cross inside. He was cross because the hens cackled. He was cross because the ducks quacked. And he was very cross because Mr. Brown often rode off to the village on his horse, while he, a beautiful white billy goat, had to stay in the field. So when Mr. Brown left him there, he decided that he was going to the village too. As soon as Mr. Brown was out of sight, he put down his head and charged at the gate. Crash! Bang! Crash! The gate fell open and Billy the goat rushed out. He ran down the road and across the stream. He ran over the bridge and across the river. And he came to the village with 3 corners. Mr. Blue Hat was just getting off the bus. He had been to market sleeping, shopping, and he was laden with parcels. Billy the goat put down his head. "I'll show him what I can do," he said to himself, and he charged at Mr. Blue Hat. His horns struck Mr. Blue Hat in the back, and poor Mr. Blue Hat sat down. His parcels were scattered all around him. Billy the goat ran on. He felt better. He was very pleased with himself, and he looked around to see if there was anyone else he could chase. Grandmother Yellow Hat was walking peacefully along. She was going to the village shop. Billy the goat snorted, and Grandmother Yellow Hat heard him. She looked over her shoulder and saw him charging towards her. Grandmother Yellow Hat ran as fast as she could. She ran through the open door of the shop and banged it to behind her. Crash! Bang! Crash! Billy the goat charged into the door. He scattered all the oranges and vegetables piled in boxes outside, but he couldn't break the door open. Grandmother Yellow Hat looked out of the window. Billy the goat was already running away. He had seen Johnny and Jennifer Yellow Hat under a tree. Johnny and Jennifer had come out to get some sticks for a bonfire. Jennifer looked up and saw Billy the goat. She jumped up onto the lower branch of the tree, and Johnny climbed up too. Crash! Bang! Crash! The goat hit the tree, but he couldn't touch Johnny and Jennifer. Johnny had a rope with him. He made one end fast around the branch and handed the other end to Jennifer. Jennifer made a loop in the end of the rope. She leaned over and dropped the loop over the goat's horns. At that moment, Mr. Brown came along the road and saw what was happening. He rushed over to the tree to help Johnny and Jennifer. But he needn't have worried. Johnny and Jennifer were quite safe, and the rope was tight around the goat's horns. So Johnny and Jennifer came down from their tree, and Mr. Brown took Billy the goat back to his farm. And everyone in the village with 3 corners talked for days and days about Mr. Brown's goat and about how Johnny and Jennifer had captured him.